This is calculus 2. We're gonna discuss shell method. This is the last method to find the volume. Previous videos we studied disk method and washer method. Shell method a little different from previous method. You guys really pay attention to shell method. Let's discuss why we study shell method. Why is it different from the wash and disk method? Guys, we want to find the volume of a solid by rotating about the y-axis. When you're rotating y-axis, guys, this one is what kind of method you're going to use? Here is the hole right here. We're going to using washer method. So I want to use washer method. So you're going to write down volume going to be pi integral. This one is rotating y-axis. You're going to put the dy radius square, longer radius square minus shorter radius square. Longer radius is going to be here right there. So we're going to find x equals something. But how can find x this function? It's very hard to find it. Same thing here. Shorter radius is right here. Shorter radius right here. This one. This one. Also very hard to find it, guys. So that case, we have to use shell method. So let's introduce shell method. Let's introduce shell method. Excuse me. So what are you gonna do? Guys, we're gonna rotating the rectangle right here, this rectangle over the y-axis. One thing you notice here, this is a rotating axis. This rectangle is parallel. Previous two methods, the rectangle is perpendicular to the rotating axis. Rotating this rectangle, you're gonna see cylinder shape, but cylinder is a little different. This one is very small. Here is a height, okay? This is a height. This is the depth. So flat this 3D object, you're gonna see this. Here is the flat, okay? This is a rectangle. And very thin depth right there, guys. So we want to find this volume. So find the volume is this rectangular flat plane. So first you find the area of rectangle first, and then you're gonna times the height. So area rectangle, here is the width and length. Width gonna be 2 pi x because radius from rotating axis, so this rectangle is x, and 2 pi x because circumference 2 pi x gonna be width gonna be f of x. So you're gonna see 2 pi x f of x, and then you times the depth. That's gonna be dx. All integration a and b. That's gonna be you find the volume of this shape, guys. So make sure cylindrical shell method. Shell method gonna be rectangle is parallel to the rotating axis. Here is right there, 2 pi x f of x dx. So I'm gonna give formula for this shell method. How gonna remember this formula, guys? Here is how to remember, guys, okay? So how gonna remember? We're gonna say x gonna be radius. This is radius. This gonna be height. So this gonna be height. The shell method, you're gonna remember two things. You're gonna draw the rectangle parallel to the rotating axis, find the radius and height. Also here is a 2 pi. previous the Washerman's disk method is pi, but the shell method is 2 pi. Let's do the example of shell method. So what are you gonna rotate here, guys? First, you're gonna see the graph of region. You're gonna rotate this one. This one, rotated y-axis, sketch the rectangle parallel. So you're gonna sketch the rectangle parallel. You see? What is radius? Radius always rotating axis to this rectangle. That's the x. What is the height? 2x squared minus y cubed. That's the y value. So how can write down this volume by using shell method? V gonna be 2 pi, always 2 pi for shell method, integral. That's gonna be here dx, okay? Dx, you're gonna put the interval of x, 0 and 2. Then what's the radius? That's gonna be x. Height gonna be y value is 2x squared minus x cubed. That's to set up the shell method, guys, okay? Let's do one more time, guys, making sure. Shell method, here is parallel rectangle. Distance from the rotating x, that's the radius. This one is height, that's the y value. Let's set it up. So how can do it? 2 pi integral 0 and 2. Here is 2x cubed minus x fourth power dx. Let's find antiderivative of this polynomial. That's going to be x fourth over 2 minus x fifth power of 5, 0 and 2, 2 pi, 2 fourths. That's going to be 16 over 2, 2 fifths, 32 over 5, minus 0. So you're going to do here 16 divided by 2 is 8. A minus 32 over 5. So you're going to have this common denominator. 5, 40 minus 32, 2 pi, 8 over 5, 16 pi over 16 pi over 5. Okay? Guys, make sure shell method, you're going to slice parallel, find the distance and height. Let's do another example of shell method. They give the graph region between the y equal x scale, y equal x, right there, y equal x scale, guys, okay? So we're gonna find the volume obtained by rotating this region, rotating over the y-axis. So you might using the washer method, but this one is much easier to find the volume by using the shell method. Okay, why? Look at this one. So first the shell method, you're gonna draw the rectangle parallel, right? Parallel. So you have to using shell method. That's the V 2 pi integral. This one is gonna be dx. That's gonna be dx. Then interval of x of where 0 and 1, that's intersection gonna be 1. How do you know, guys? You're gonna put together x equal x squared minus x equals 0. Common factor is x minus 1 equals 0, x equals 0, x equals 1. Here is a 0 and 1. So here is a 0 and 1. Now you put the radius times height. What is the radius here? Here to here is radius. Y-axis from this one. That's going to be x. I'm going to put the x times height going to be this. This one is longer height going to be y equal x. Shorter height going to be y equal x squared minus x squared. This shell method much easier to find the volume compared to washer method. Now this one is 2 pi integral 0 and 1 x squared minus x cubed dx. Okay, so then you're gonna see right here 2 pi x cubed over 3, x fourth power over 4, 0 and 1, 2 pi, plug in the 1 over 3 minus 1 over 4, common denominate. This one is 12, 4 minus 1. This one is 2 pi over 12. That's going to be pi over 6. So you have choice of wash and shell method. I prefer the shell method. This one is much easier. Now we're going to do more challenging question by using shell method. Previous example, we using y-axis. This example, we using vertical line, any vertical line right here, guys. So we're going to using any vertical line. This time, x equal to. X equal to. So what is challenging about using vertical line? Find the radius part, guys, okay? So this one is, we give it to here, region is y equal x minus x squared, that's the region. Y equal 0 is x-axis, rotating x equal to. X equal to is right here, guys. X equal to is draw the right here, that's vertical line. So we're gonna rotate this parallel to the y, so we're gonna using shell method. Using shell method meaning is we're gonna be 2 pi integral dx. What do you fill out here? Radius and height. Before we fill out the radius and height, we're gonna find the interval of x. Interval of x is 0 and 1 from the graph, 0 and 1. First, find the radius. Second, find the height of rectangle. Okay, guys, look at this one. Is height is easy. Height is, this one is height from here to here. That's the y value. That's going to be x minus x squared. Tricky part is radius, guys. Radius, I here give it to you, but radius going to be, look at this one is going to be, guys, this is radius because rotating axis x equal to. So how can I find this radius? Here to here is we always x. From the y-axis, that's x value. So this whole thing from the here to here is 2. So what is this one gonna be? That's gonna be radius. That's gonna be 2 minus x. So really work on how can find the radius. Depends on rotating axis. Now you can do this one. 2 pi 0 1 distribute 2x 2x squared minus x squared plus x cubed dx 2 pi 0 and 1 2x minus 3x squared plus x cubed dx polynomial. Very easy, right, guys? So this one is 2 pi x squared x cubed plus x fourth over 4 0 and 1. Okay, so this one is 2 pi 1 minus 1 plus 1 over 4. Cancel out. That's going to be 2 pi over 4. That's pi over 2. Guys, generally speaking, shell method is much easier than washer, but make sure find the right radius and height depending on axis of revolution, guys. Make sure, guys, okay? Now, let's review what you learned so far. Disk method, shell method, guys, okay? So this one is, the first one is gonna be using disk method. Why? No, washer method. Guys, why? Can you explain why this one is gonna be washer method? Because here is the space, here is a hole. Also, this one is perpendicular to the y-axis. Guys, that's this one is a washer method. Same thing is here, guys. Rotating x-axis, here is a hole. Also, this one is washer method. excuse me, also this one is perpendicular to the x-axis. How about this one? This one is rotating over y-axis, but this one is gonna be parallel. That's why this is shell method. We didn't mention this one, but same idea. This is rotating x-axis. This one is parallel to the rotating axis. This is shell method. That's why you're gonna see difference between wash and shell method, guys. Okay, so make sure how to identify this method, shell method. Let's set up the find volume by region bounded by the curve y equal x squared, y equal 2x, rotating x equal -1. Why shell method is more preferable, much easier, guys. Okay, let's just set it up. Let's try the shell method first. Okay, guys, let's do the shell method. Shell method, what do you say? Rotating over x equal -1. We're gonna using shell method. You're gonna draw the rectangle parallel. All you need shell method 2 pi volume gonna be integral dx where to where 0 and 2. Radius, this is radius. This one is x. This is 1. So radius is x plus 1. Height gonna be here, here, which means that this one is longer height, shorter height. Longer height, y equal 2x, 2x minus shorter height, x squared. That's gonna be shell method. The other hand, disk method, another way, washer method, guys, here. So here is a rotating axis. Rotating axis. Here is a hole. You get to draw the rectangle perpendicular to the rotating axis. Here is a hole. This is a washer method. Washer method gonna be guys, look at this. V equal pi integral rotating x equal -1 parallel to y-axis. That's gonna be dy. You say washer method, something longer radius square minus shorter radius square. So you're gonna write the interval of y. So we wanna find the 0 and this one this time. That's gonna be 4, 0 and 4. Okay? Because this is y. Then you're gonna see longer radius. They give it to you x equals square root y. That's the longer radius. So here is 1. Here is a square root y. So this one is a pi integral 0 and 4. 1 plus square root y squared. Shorter radius gonna be this one. This is a shorter radius. So this is 1. This is gonna be 1.5 y. So minus 1 plus 1.5 y squared dy. Look at these two different methods. Which one is much easier? I definitely prefer shell method. This one is more complicated. So make sure, guys, decide which method you're gonna use. So you should prefer the shell method.